Eric, just so you guys know. He's hanging out back here with me because there's no other way for him to get that way.
Okay.
All right. Well, what a perfect song. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. My name is Andrew. I'm a marriage and family therapist, and I have enjoyed spending time with your leadership team and your community today. I love a church where people got their sleeves rolled up and they are working to make the church happen. They're not waiting for somebody in a position, in a role to say, okay, now we'll do this, now we'll do that. We have people who are part of this community who say, hey, I want to get in. I want to jump into this, and I'd like to make myself a part of this community. I'd like to help out. So I have enjoyed connecting with you.
Oh, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, better.
I love that, and I particularly love that because I have lived pretty much the first half of my life in leadership capacities in different contexts. I grew up as a missionary kid. We were traveling to different parts of the world, and in those places, planting churches. My dad was a seminary professor and also a church planter. And so I kind of grew up as part of the leadership team, voluntold. You are leading this. You're part of that. You're an example for other people. So I grew up in that position, and when I got to my teenage years, we were in the Philippines. And in the Philippines, we kind of got hooked on to John Maxwell. And so you got the Maxwell leadership process that we engaged through. I decided to go to college. And when I went into college, I decided I wanted to study communication so I could be a better communicator. And I could be somebody who speaks and people listen. And I'm able to influence what's happening in the room. And then we went to Thailand, and in Thailand we got involved in campus outreach and discipleship, and also teaching people how to make film. And so we got set up with video production, leadership development. All that is really important, but for the second half of my life, I have decided I'm going to be a better listener. And I've done a lot of speaking, I've done a lot of teaching and training, but what I really need is to be a better listener. So I have decided to be a marriage and family therapist, and that's been how I have pursued this part of the training. I grew up as a missionary kid, and so I saw a lot of families where parents meant well. The father and sometimes the mother too decided, I got a mission. I have a mission, and we need to get out there and we need to make something happen for the kingdom of God. And so they take the kids, and sometimes they pull the kids out of high school, sometimes they pull them out of elementary age education, and they take them halfway across the world and plunk them down in Metro Manila. And at that point, the family begins to spiral and disintegrate and fall apart. And parents are trying to do leadership. They're trying to meet people's needs out here, but there's stuff going on in the family that leads to just a disintegration of what they're trying to do, and I've watched that happen again and again and again. And even as a missionary in Thailand, I watched it happen in so many families. And it grew in my heart to be somebody who connects with people and finds them places where they're serving and says, what's really going on for you? Because you're doing a lot for other people. What are you missing? What do you need? And so that brought me into marriage and family therapy, and I get the honor and the pleasure of working with people in two contexts. I work at a rehab and recovery place, and I also work in private practice. And I was meeting with clients the other day, and they were saying, oh man, I just feel like we are failing at every corner. And these were clients in private practice, and I said, you know what? At the rehab recovery place, a lot of times when somebody walks in, you can kind of look at them and say, wow, they may be disheveled, their clothes are torn, maybe they're not even wearing parts of them, and then they're walking in and they're saying, I'm at the end of my rope. In private practice, people are walking in, they're driving in their Porsches, and then they walk in the room and they fall apart. And nobody knows what's going on with them. They're covering up pretty well. And because of that, we all walk around saying, oh, man, we can't keep it together. We're doing a terrible job of life. And we don't realize that the person sitting next to us at the restaurant is in the exact same situation. But that's something that I have the vantage point of seeing that not everybody else does. And one of my clients, as we spent some time together, began to realize I've been so afraid of being seen. I've been so afraid of being seen because I felt that if I was seen, people would not respect me. But now I'm beginning to understand that I can be known and respected. I can be known, connected with, and feel secure in my relationships. So today, I want to talk about that. Now, the question I want to ask you is, have you ever tried to do the right thing, but it just made things worse? Ever been in that situation? Yeah? Yeah. It's like you buy that dress for your wife, but it's 2 sizes too big. Or maybe you make those cookies to bring over to your mother-in-law's house, and then you find out she made cookies too, and now whose cookies are better? Is this silent competition that's going on? Or maybe you plan a surprise party for someone, you're going to give them a gift, but you're going to give it arrives late, and so it seems like you haven't actually prepared anything for the special day that you have the surprise for. Yeah, it's that kind of situation. What I want to do is I want to talk about a story in which a man of God makes a mistake. And he makes a mistake based on good intentions. And I want to apologize to all the men in this room already because this story does not make us look good. All right? We're going to have a hard time in this story because guys are not keeping it together in this one right here. All right, so this is a story of what makes intimate connection, what is required for intimate connection, and what happens when we don't have intimate connection, but we do have a position of influence or authority in somebody's life. This is a story that comes from 2 Kings chapter 4. So if you have your Bible, or if you have a phone, you're going to need it today, because I am going to be spending most of the time talking about these scriptures. I'll wait a second until everybody gets over. All right. Are we ready? Everybody there? Raise your hand for me if you're there. Let me know. Okay? I've got about 4 of you.
We are going to be able to play.
I'm waiting for everybody else. Okay.
What's the chapter?
What's the chapter?
Chapter 4. 2 Kings, verse 4. Okay, little context. The context is this. We've had a regime change in this nation. The context in 2 Kings is that we've had multiple changes of leadership. What happens is you have a king who has been ruling, and he has not been a very good king. And that king has finally been overthrown. And he had been in direct conflict with a guy named Elijah. And Elijah was quite possibly special forces for the Israeli military way back in the day. He seems to have some kind of military background because of the way that he speaks to the king and the way that he understands his position with God. He takes action, he steps into situations, and he makes decisions, and he does it knowing that he's within some kind of chain of command. And it's like, okay, when did God say that? And there seems to be this sense with Elijah, he didn't necessarily get a direct message, but he knows why he's there. And so because he knows why he's there, he takes action on behalf of that mission. And Elijah has been going back and forth with this king. Finally, this king is overthrown, but now there's a power vacuum. And people begin to step into that power vacuum to try to take leadership and say, hey, I think I can do a good job. And another person says, I think I can do a better job. And then they go back and forth in these ways. Well, Elijah had been grooming a prophet to take his place, to step into the position that he was ready to leave. And this has just happened, just recently. In the first 2 chapters of this, you've got Elijah leaving and Elisha saying, please don't go. And Elijah saying, if you'll stay with me until you watch me leave, then you'll have everything that I have plus more. You'll have twice of what I had. That's what Elisha asked for. So here's Elisha, and this is sort of the second act that Elisha undertakes that is recorded for us. Elisha is stepping in here into a nation where it's in disarray, and people don't know what's going on. People don't understand even what their neighbor's intentions are. And you'll begin to see that as the story progresses. But Elisha steps in here, and he's not alone. He's got a servant. And this is something you want to pay attention to as you read the story of Elijah and Elisha, is their interactions with their servants, with the people who serve with them. All right, so let's begin. 4 verse 1. Now the wife of one of the sons of the prophets cried to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead. And you know that your servant feared the Lord, but the creditor has come to take my 2 children to be his slave. And Elisha said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you in the house? And she said, your servant has nothing in the house except a small jar of oil. Then he said, okay, go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not too few. Then go in and shut the door behind yourself and your sons, and pour it into all these vessels. And when one is full, set it aside. So she went from him and shut the door behind herself and her sons. And as she poured, they brought the vessels to her. Then, when the vessels were full, she said to her son, bring me another vessel. And he said to her, there's not another. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on the rest. I'm actually not going to talk too much about this part of the story, but you need it as a reference point for what happens next. Okay, so what do we have in this first part of the story? What we have is a woman in distress. This is a woman in distress. Her husband is gone. In some ways, ineffectual. Right? He cannot have an influence on this situation that she's living in. And she's got 2 sons. She's got kids, and she wants to take care of them, but she's about to lose her sons. She's about to lose her sons, and so she comes to the man of God, and she says, help me. And she tells him exactly what's wrong. She tells him what's wrong, and he says, okay, I understand what's wrong now. And now that I understand what's wrong, let's do something about it. And we're going to do something about it with the power of God to meet this need. And as he does that, a few things are stated here, and you'll see this replicated in the second story. So the first thing that is stated is that he tells her to take her sons, go into a room, and shut the door. Take the things that are precious to you and take them into a quiet, intimate place. Shut the door and involve them in the miracle. And the second thing that happens here is the prophet asks her, how can I help you? Now let's read verse 8. In verse 8, it says, one day Elisha went on to Shunem, where a wealthy woman lived. Now already you see the contrast. You see the contrast because the first woman was, anybody? We're in a small enough room, so it's fine if you guys talk back to me. It's not going to cause chaos. All right, so the first woman was?
Destitute.
Yeah, she was destitute. In other words, she was poor. All right, this is a poor woman in the first one. Now, in the second one, however, this woman is wealthy. She's wealthy, right? She's a wealthy woman who urged him to eat some food. So whenever he passed that way, he would turn in there to eat food. It's a pretty good way to get somebody to stop over at your house. Is feed them well. And now you've got a prophet who is coming for regular visits. This is a smart lady. Right? Find the person of influence and bless them so that they continue to pass by your way. So whenever he passed that way, he would turn in there to eat food. And she said to her husband, behold, now. I know that this is a holy man of God who is continually passing our way. Well, this is something that's going to continue happening. I want you to see something here. Who had the idea? And the woman did. Okay? Take note of that. She has the idea. You'll begin to see that in her family, she is the social and spiritual leader of the family. She's the one with perception. I don't know where her husband's mind is at, but she's the one who's looking for the opportunity to connect with God. She's the one who's looking and seeing, how is our family really doing? She's the one who's looking around and she's saying, what is happening in this community that I can engage in so that our family begins to grow in its influence and begins to bring in people that are going to make this family also a better place to live. She said to her husband, behold now, I know that this is a holy man of God who is continually passing our way. Let us make a small room on the roof with walls and put there for him a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. This lady is going to IKEA. She is busting out walls. She's telling her husband, hey babe, I got an idea for a home remodeling. All right? This is a familiar conversation for a lot of people. Except for her, she's got a mission. She has a plan involved here. She's creating an ADU, a bed and breakfast for profits in her house. And she says, so that whenever he comes to us, he can go in there. So one day he came there and he turned into the chamber and rested there. And he said to Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite. When he had called her, she stood before him. And he said to him, not to her. So now the prophet, man of God, is speaking to Gehazi. It's possible that Gehazi was interpreting her language. That could be a reason why he's speaking to Gehazi, because in the first story, he spoke directly to the woman. But for whatever reason, he speaks to Gehazi. And Gehazi is transmitting the language to her. And this is kind of where the problem begins. Call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, he stood before him, and he said to him, say now to her, see, you have taken all this trouble for us. What is to be done for you? Will you have a word spoken on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army? He's making suggestions. She answered, I dwell among my own people. And he said, well, what then is to be done for her? And he's not talking to her now, he's talking to Gehazi. Gehazi answered, well, she has no son and her husband is old. And we have an idea. He said, call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the doorway. And he said, at this season, about this time next year, you shall embrace a son. And she said, no, my lord, O man of God, do not lie to your servant. But the woman conceived, and she bore a son about that time, the following spring, as Elisha had said to her. A beautiful story. My wife, Jackie, is an incredible gift giver. She just has this uncanny knack for seeing a person and observing them and saying, I know exactly what this person would want. She watches how they move through the world. She sees what fashion choices they make. She observes maybe their home and their aesthetic. She spends time around them and sees what they use and what they don't use. And as she does this, she begins to understand exactly what it is that will fit with that person's world. And so when she's out in a market, or she's going somewhere shopping, or when she gets a notification on her phone that there's a sale at some online shopping place, she thinks of that person, she clicks buy. And when she shows up with that gift, that person actually cries a lot of times. It's incredible. I watched it happen at Christmas. She gave my mom this antique Jack-in-the-Box that you get from a flea market. A small, nothing piece of junk in my eyes that I would have passed over. But Jackie sees it and says, your mom would love that. And she gave that to my mom, and here's my mom crying. And there's my sister crying. There's my dad crying. His mom's crying. And everybody's crying. And I'm looking here, I'm like, oh man, I'm never gonna figure this stuff out. But Jackie does this on a regular basis. I, on the other hand, am a terrible gift giver. And it points to something that I'm speaking to myself about as I read this. And I will buy Jackie a gift. And about 3 days later, I'll open the trunk of the car and I'll see that gift in a bag with the receipt, getting ready to get returned back to the shop where I got it from. I understand that this is the dynamic at this point, so I don't have any hurt feelings about that because I understand I didn't get it right. I'm glad that she's not going to have to just stick with that because Jackie's also pretty good at decluttering things. So here's the situation in which it would have been really helpful for Gehazi to have a gift card for this woman. Now, gift cards, in my opinion, they're creating a little bit of a problem culturally for us. It used to be that back in the day, you gave someone a gift and they had no choice. They're either going to keep it or they're going to re-gift it to somebody else. That's their two options. And then we got a hold of gift exchange receipts. And now you can get a box and you like it. If you don't like it, that's okay, you can return it and you can get money back for it. But now, as a culture, we look at a situation and we say, oh man, I just don't know what this person would want, but category, I know that they like coffee, let me give them a coffee gift card. Or, she loves shopping at that place, let me give her a shopping gift card. And in some ways, it's a great insurance plan. It's very safe, and it makes sure that we actually give something of value. In other ways, it kind of makes it so that we don't have to listen so hard to the person. We don't really have to take a chance and give them something that they don't want. You guys see what I'm saying? In this situation, it might have been helpful for Gehazi to have a gift card. Rather than a gift card, Gehazi decided to give someone a life-changing event that they could not return. You can't give this thing back. Here's a baby. All right? Did she say she wanted a baby? No, this woman did not say, I would love to have a child. You know what? My deepest dream, the dream in my heart is, please give me a child. No, she didn't say that. She's an old woman. We don't know if she was ready to coast into retirement or not. But Gehazi assumed, you know what? She's old. Past childbearing years. Her husband is old. What about a baby? Can you imagine being called in the room and being like, hey, you know what? New motherhood. That's what we're planning for you. I guess I'll get with the program. There seems to be this sense that maybe she had wanted it before, but she had sort of let go of that dream because it just wasn't going to happen. So she let go of it and she kind of moved on, and she had decided, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to serve people in the community. And then all of a sudden, she is now a new mother. And so she says, okay, I guess I'll be a mom. I don't believe this can happen. Gehazi had faith. I want you guys to see that. I'm not just going to dog on Gehazi. Gehazi had faith. In fact, his name means Valley of Vision. That's what the name Gehazi means. The only thing is that Gehazi is not intimately connected with the people he has vision for. And that's the issue. So now we proceed to the last part of this story. When the child had grown, he went out one day to his father among sorry, I scribbled over my book. The lepers. Yeah. And he said to his father, oh, my head. And the father said to his servant, carry him to his mother. What do we see here? It's a repeating pattern.
Father passing on responsibility.
Yeah, dad's passing on. I don't know what to do with him. You know, the kid comes to his dad. He came to his dad for some reason. And as he came to his dad looked at the kid and said, he needs something. I don't know what it is, though. Send him to his mom. She'll figure it out. And so it says, carry him to his mother. And when he had lifted him and brought him to his mother, this is the servant, the child sat on her lap till noon, and then he died. Whew. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God and shut the door behind him. So we see a repeat of the pattern. The same thing that the poor woman did with her 2 sons that the prophet told her to do. Take your sons with you into the quiet, intimate place and close the door behind you so that they can be a part of this miracle too. She put him in the man of God's bed and shut the door behind him and went out. Then she called to her husband and said, send me one of the servants and one of the donkeys that I may quickly go to the man of God and come back again. All right, look at the context, okay? The context is you just had a son die on your lap. She's put him in that room. She goes to her husband and says, I need to go see the man of God quickly. All right, just make an assumption here as to why she would be going to the man of God. Probably about that kid, right? What does her husband ask her? Why will you go to him today? It is neither new moon nor Sabbath. Is this man paying attention at all? No. She said, all is well. In the Hebrew, this word is shalom. Shalom meaning there is a general state of well-being in this place. The blessing and the favor of God that brings changes to the environment that I live in is upon me. It is something I am living under right now. There's well-being in my soul. And so she says, shalom, all is well. Now, you'll see that word a few times after this. All is well. Then she saddled the donkey and said to her servant, urge the animal on, do not slacken the pace, for unless I tell you. So she set out and came to the man of God at Mount Carmel. So here's Elisha up on top of a mountain. This is the mountain where a big battle had taken place between his father, Elijah, basically, and the prophets of Baal, back when things had changed. So he's up there, and he looks down the hill, and he sees this woman on this donkey racing to get to him. And as he sees her, he turns to Gehazi again. And he says, when the man of God saw her coming, he said to Gehazi, his servant, look, there's the Shunammite. Run at once to meet her and say to her, is all well with you? Is it shalom? Is it shalom with you? Is all well with your husband? Is it shalom with your husband? Is all well with the child? Is it shalom with the child? And so Gehazi goes down. See, Elisha can already tell something's wrong. She's moving too fast. Something is wrong in this situation. And he sends Gehazi, and Gehazi goes down to her. And Gehazi carries his message. He says, is it? Is it shalom? And she says to him, shalom. It is well. All is well. Now, obviously, something's not right. Something is not okay here. And when she came to the mountain, to the man of God, she caught hold of his feet. And Gehazi came to push her away. And I want you to think about the woman with the issue of blood arriving at Jesus' feet and clinging to him with a secret pain, with a secret burden, with something happening in her life biologically that she's trying to deal with, but it's too shameful to say to anybody. And she clings to his feet, and Jesus' disciples look at this woman and say, not proper, that's not right. You can't, no, this is not the place. This is not the place, not the time, and you can't approach him. You are a woman, he is a holy man. Back in this culture, that's not acceptable. We can't do that. And Elisha says to her, or says to Gehazi, but the man of God said to him, leave her alone. Elisha finally realizes, we missed it. We have made mistakes. We have been making decisions with good intentions based on assumptions of what we thought she needed. We got to stop this. And he says to Gehazi, leave her alone. For she is in bitter distress. This is not shalom. This woman is not experiencing shalom. And the Lord has hidden it from me. Just because I'm a prophet, just because I'm a leader, just because I'm in this position, does not mean that I naturally know what the right thing is to do, what the best thing is to do. God has hidden it from me and has not told me. And so the implication is, and so he's definitely not told you, Gehazi, because if I'm supposed to be the top guy, the prophet up here, and my leadership and my position should give me the knowledge and wisdom and clarify exactly what needs to happen in this situation. And if I don't see it, I really doubt you see it based on your position. All right? Because neither of us are doing what it takes to understand this situation. We're not listening to this woman. Then she said, "Did I ask my Lord for a son? Did I ask for this? Did I not say, 'Don't deceive me'?" And he said to Gehazi, "Tie up your garment and take my staff in your hand and go. If you meet anyone, do not greet him." He says, enough with the shalom business. All right? Quit telling people everything's okay. Quit telling people everything's okay. It's not okay. So if somebody says, "Hey, Gehazi, shalom," stop saying shalom. Just go. Go and deal with this problem that now we know exists. Do not greet him. And if anyone greets you, do not reply. And lay my staff on the face of the child. Then the mother of the child says, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you. You're the only one who's listening to me. You are the only one who hears what's going on anymore." So he arose and followed her. Gehazi went on ahead and laid the staff on the face of the child, but there was no sound or sign of life. Of course not. Because he's an ineffectual leader. Because he does not listen. He is not intimately connected with the person who has the problem. He's using his position. So he arose and followed her. Gehazi went, put the staff on the face of the child, and therefore he returned to meet him and told him, "The child is not awakened." Now again, Gehazi has faith. Gehazi has faith. He believes these things can happen. When Elisha came into the house, he saw the child lying dead on his bed. Now, this is interesting, because Elisha still owns the bed, even though there's a dead body in it. And again, culturally, at this time, if a dead body has touched something, you destroy that thing. You don't go anywhere near that thing. You are, especially if you are a priest or a prophet or a holy person, you don't get near death and decay. That's not a domain for you. But Elisha is willing to still own the bed. He's owning the bed where the death exists, where the decay exists. And he's saying, you know what? Even though there's death and decay there, that's still mine. And I'm going to take ownership of this problem. You don't have to destroy this thing and say, "Oh, it's unacceptable, it's not okay for this to exist in this place." Just for me. So he went in and shut the door behind the two of them. And now we have a third example of a door being shut with the child within. Then he went up and lay on the child, putting his mouth on his mouth and his eyes on his eyes and his hands on his hands. And this is kind of weird when you look at it. But the implication is this: he could not get any closer to the problem. Elisha he does not want to miss it. He can't get any closer to this problem that this woman is having than this right here. Eye contact, hands on hands, mouth to mouth. Just don't let me miss this anymore. I am the man of God, and I've been trying to do my job, and I have been thinking I was doing the right thing, but here it is right in front of me. This is the problem that's happening. I don't want to miss it this time. And so Elisha lays there, and the flesh of the child became warm. But then he got up and he walked around back and forth in the house and went in and stretched him up. And he did the same thing again. He said, "Okay, no matter how long it takes, I want to know what the problem is. I need to know what's going on before I try to fix it, before I try to solve it. I just need to know. I need to get close to it. I need to get so close to my kids before I start assuming, oh, that's what's happening with them. I need to get so close to my wife before I say, oh, she's just like this. I need to get so close to the people I'm leading before I say, ah, she's just like this. I need to get so close to the problem so that I can't miss it anymore. And then he summoned Gehazi. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the big reveal. The child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. Then he summoned Gehazi and said, call this Shunammite. This is the 3rd time. He's saying, get her in here again. Did we get it right? Did we get it right? So he called her, and she came to him, and he said, pick up your son. She came and fell at his feet the 2nd time, bowing to the ground. Then she picked up her son and went out. As a marriage and family therapist, I get a lot of people who come in with diagnoses from other people. That diagnosis may be from their mom. It might be from their partner. It might be from their sister. It may be from a psychiatrist. It may be from a previous therapist. It might be from TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. But they have received some kind of helpful diagnosis. And diagnoses can sometimes be helpful, but what they are distancing mechanisms. When we give someone a diagnosis, we no longer have to listen. I don't have to listen to what's going on with you. I know what's going on with you. Oh, well, the reason why you're doing that is because you have a bipolar disorder. Oh, the reason why you're doing that is because he's a narcissist. Or the reason why you're doing that is it's probably your OCD. The reason why you're doing that, and so I don't have to listen anymore. Now, sometimes I'll have a child who sits in with me, and the diagnosis is ADHD. Well, what if it's not ADHD? What if ADHD is that he's scared? What if he's been scared for a long enough time that his body has kind of taken over and said, you know what, he needs to just get out of here. He doesn't need to sit still. This is not a place where he wants to sit still. I don't know. What if that's happening? Sometimes it is. Sometimes we miss it because giving someone a diagnosis is a little bit easier. And it helps us know that's what we do with the problem. Boom, medication. That'll solve it. And we might medicate instead of listening, instead of treating the actual problem that person's experiencing. And maybe it's anger. Maybe this person has anger issues. And I have husbands who come in with anger issues. And when that happens, sometimes we discover that it's shame. He's ashamed of something. There's something that has happened in his life, or something that he's been told about himself again and again and again. And when an inkling of that is brought up in conversation, it triggers that shame, and the response is anger. And maybe that person who's dealing with depression, it's grief. Maybe it's grief. Maybe that person lost something, or is losing something, or is afraid that they're going to lose something. And that's why everything has slowed down for them. And that's why they don't want to leave this moment in their life. And we can be quick to look at them and say, you're depressed, you need to get up. You know what you need to do? You need to go running. You need to go running, get outside, get some exercise. That'll be good for you. That'll take care of depression. And you know what else will be helpful? Take this medicine. That'll help you stop being depressed. And it doesn't deal with the grief. And so when the medicine is gone, or the season changes again, the depression comes back. It's sometimes helpful to receive a diagnosis. It's sometimes helpful to receive medication, sometimes to jumpstart a process. But the thing that we miss when we're so quick to solve the problem is the listening part. The part that says, what do you really want? That you're not sharing with me or with anybody, and maybe it's hidden from you. Maybe you don't even know what you need. Because you've lived so much of your life trying to be helpful to other people. You've lived so much of your life trying to solve other people's needs that you haven't ever paid attention to what's going on in your life. And if I ask you what you need, maybe you say, all is well. Shalom. something about it, I don't buy it. And I don't say that, oh, that's because there's a problem with you. Maybe you're experiencing something. So I want to give you a chance today to ask of your own heart and to ask of someone else in this room. Is it shalom? Is it really? Can I invite you to, if you're here with a partner, to turn to your partner and have a small time of prayer where you ask each other, what is the thing that hurts? Is there anything that hurts? What is the thing that hurts? And can I pray with you about that? And if you're not here with somebody as a partner, maybe you can find a person. Find somebody and say, is there a thing that hurts that I can pray with you about? Can we do that for them? I'll lead us as we begin. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to really slow down and to not have to solve all the problems all at once, and to recognize the deep need that we are experiencing and that maybe the person beside us is experiencing. I pray today for openness and vulnerability and trust as we ask, is it shalom? And as we answer honestly, whether it is or if there's something that's hurting us, and let your healing take place here. In Jesus' name. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to pray together.
Not build my future.
Again, taking a chance to pray with someone. It's a good time to partner up. for this day. Thank you again for this beautiful congregation. People who genuinely love you and want to serve each other, want to help each other, want to help their community, want to help those that they serve with. We pray, God, for ears to hear and eyes to see so that they can really help the people that they're trying to help. And pray that as they lean in and as they listen and as they ask questions of those that they genuinely care about, that you'll continue to open the lines of dialogue and conversations so that healing can flow and life can be restored in people's lives where it seems like a thing is dead, where it seems like a hope is lost, and where it seems like a season is over.